Did you know your pupils are the last part of you to stop working when you die? That's right. They die late. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today, we're going to talk about 10 characters that you're modding poorly. Actually, there's 11. The one of them I can't speak on a ton of authority, but someone told me how to mod them, and I'm just trusting them 100%. And you should therefore trust me. It's third hand. What could go wrong? So, a lot of these characters are based off of my infographic that I made for Datacron Set 21 that was released a little bit ago. The focused Datacrons are out as well, and we're talking about some of those characters. So go to my Discord server, folks, and pick up that infographic if you want. It's in the infographics section, as you might expect. So go check that out. The link is in the video description. Huge shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome, and I couldn't do this without you. Thank you so much, guys, for your support. I couldn't do it without you. I think I said that already, but it bears repeating. And if you want to support the channel for free, folks, all you got to do is hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment. Let's mount that algorithm, shall we? It's gonna be a good time. You know it is. We all know. We all suspect. We're not sure. It might happen. Let's get going here, folks. So, first, let's talk about Dad Bod Boba. Boba Fett, as people call him. Ooh, boy. That's mean. So, what does he want to do? It's an interesting thing. He's kind of a relic of a past era when he used to kill Lord Vader, and now the new Focus Datacron says, hey, you can kill all sorts of stuff. We're gonna buff him like crazy, but don't you dare kill Lord Vader. So what's he gonna do? We're not sure yet, but how do you mod him? I suppose we could talk about that a little bit. Basically, his kit is based off of doing a lot of damage and gaining a lot of turn meter. Now, in Territory Wars... Whoa, hold on a sec. Alright, we updated our client, or reset it at least. So, anyways, in Territory Wars, you might be trying to get extra speed, and you might be taking things out in TW. But without TW, if we're just looking at GAC, I mean, it's pretty simple, folks. You're just going to want a lot of offense. You just want to do a lot of offense. The speed on him, I mean, speed is good, obviously, for most characters, and in TW it probably matters more. I think, in general, you're just going to want some crit damage with percent offense, folks. Percent offense all over the place, and that's basically it. I mean, he's a pretty simple guy. He's a simple man. He's just trying to... make a living in the galaxy, or whatever the hell his dad said a long time ago, his clone father. Anyways, he's yeah, I'm really interested to see how this is all gonna go. His kid is essentially built to go directly alongside Fennec Shand, and she doesn't disappoint, folks. She does just ruin things. She ruins all sorts of things, including people's private areas when she kicks them. If you look at where she kicks, it's usually right in that spot, and it makes for some good fun. So, what does Fennec want in life? Really, what every bounty hunter wants. She just wants to kill everything in the whole world, and you know, including the aforementioned private areas. So, what is she doing? I mean, some speed is fine, but really she just wants percent offense, folks. Percent offense, even to the exclusion of... so this is an interesting thing. If she's not killing Lord Vader, maybe she actually does want to start doing some crit damage. When you were fighting Lord Vader... And she was predominantly, we used to mod her just to counter Lord Vader, right? And for the most part, I guess most of us are just going to be killing Lord Vader with her anyway. I mean, to some degree at least, like that's what we've done with bounty hunters in the past. but you couldn't really crit him consistently, right? Like once you take a certain amount of health down, then you just can't crit him, so you just modded for offense. A little crit damage is probably fine. Remember, she is special damage though, so her crit chance is way lower than it seems like. So the physical offense here says 93%. The reality is her special offense, she's only at 60%, and this is at Relic 8, so she doesn't have super high crit chance. So adding a crit chance set is probably a good idea. And honestly, I don't think you're going to go too wrong but just by sticking an offense damage on the triangle if you can manage it. I mean, if you want to do a crit damage, that's probably fine. I do think, like, typically, generally speaking, just getting as much offense on her as possible is probably going to be the solution for her. She's also fairly simple, doesn't need a ton of speed. I mean, more speed is fine, but she doesn't you're not going to be broken by the fact that she doesn't have a ton of it. Count Dooku, however, you do probably want a little bit of speed with him. He's going to have a new Datacron set that he's going to be hitting back pretty hard. Lots of riposte, lots of hitting back and doing damage out of his normal turn. And so, in general, so I have him kind of modded sort of balanced. Potency is nice on him because he's stunning people. He's shocking people. just literal shock, guys. He's not like flashing them. But he might be. We're not sure. He's too fast. He's too fast to tell for sure. But honestly, the speed on him, I thought it was funny. I looked it up, and the average speed on Count Dooku is 309 out there, like out on like the top modding for him, because he's not. You use him in a trench team, I guess, but for TW, but for the most part, he's just kind of left alone. And the average speed is 309, which mine happened to be without any adjustment whatsoever. I guess the thing that I'm always concerned about for him is he is a frail dude. He dies super easy, and so adding a little bit of health or possibly protection isn't probably the very worst idea that you could have. But on the other hand, you want he's very stat hungry, and I mean he's Relic 8 anyways for a lot of people, because he's required for Lord Vader, I believe, at Relic 8. So he's stat hungry, but you can't really increase his stats by adding more relics, right? Like Relic 9 is not going to do that much. If you're broken, if he's already got bad stats at Relic 8, 9 is not going to save you for the most part, and so. Getting some potency is nice. I've seen some people add a lot of tenacity on him just to make sure he doesn't, try to get stunned or any of that. But he has such a low base tenacity that you really have to mod him with full tenacity set. And I used to do that, actually. I used to say, like, his main value is in hitting back and causing debuffs, in which case you want to have him not stunned or dazed. And I think those days are kind of just ended. You want to keep him alive, so a little bit of health and protection, and then some potency, and then some damage. I mean, just like spread it so thin that you can't really get the most out of any of those stats. But I do think it's going to be a pretty delicate balance, and this might be one of those things that we change over the course of time. But looking at a lot of different people's modding for him, I didn't really see any consistent way that anyone was modding him that I was like, oh yeah, that makes super lot of sense. Like, he is what he is. He tries to stun people. He's going to be doing more damage, and he's going to be hitting more consistently. It's going to be a really interesting set for him, folks. So let's find out together, folks. Some speed, some potency, some damage, some staying alive, some tenacity. Like what other stats could we possibly try to fit on Count Dooku? Who knows? Okay. So Darth Talon's pretty fun, for lots of reasons. I put her Omicron on, and I haven't noticed much difference at all for her. So you should go and do that if you like. Whoa! Someone called me while I was making a video. How dare they? here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. So people use her as like a stat character, like she just adds a bunch of stats. Like Sith allies gain extra health, they gain extra offense, they gain extra speed, and those are all great. And I don't blame people for wanting to add her for those reasons. Like that's a legitimate reason. And I think that the people who just have her at Relic 5 to unlock Starkiller, I don't blame you for just like not caring about her mods. The thing that a lot of people overlook though is she actually starts hitting really hard, and that's not just with her Omicron. The Omicron does help, but she also she does do an enormous amount of damage. That's why I got her to Relic 8 on this account, and put an Omicron on her, and so in reality, I would advise, I mean, some speed is great on her, but like, you know, I have percent offense even on that one. Just lots of damage, guys. If you can add some damage, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. You know, apparently I just have a health percent cron or mod on her here. I think offense is probably the better choice, but you know, lots of offense, and yeah, just destroy your opponents. Look at that flat offense, 173. How impressive. I mean, I guess the other thing is though, she is fairly squishy, and people are going to try to snipe her out when they can. Of course, she's going to be stealth half the time, but a little bit of extra offense or protection and health. I guess health is probably better. It doesn't go too far amiss. It's kind of nice, honestly. So Talon, you know, she's gonna have her own cron. She's gonna be with Traya, and for the most part you can leave her as B, but I would say err on the side of offense for her. It doesn't suck. So oh, we have one more in this group. So General Grievous, he's an interesting guy because remember, he doesn't do damage based off of his offense stat. They're like all of his damage is based off of his max health, and so that's great. He also gains, he's going to be on his droid team, I think. I don't think he's going to be like on some weird sortie squad or whatever. He's going to just be on his traditional like separatist droids team. Maybe we'll throw Newt on there as well. Who freaking knows? But the big thing is here, folks, he wants to do a few specific things. First off, he controls the fight by putting a lot of target lock on people. And that target lock is it does two different things. First off, it stops people from countering. So like, I know it's a relic from the past, but if you're fighting like a CLS team and you don't want them to hit you back because they hit really hard, but they have a good counter chance, if you get target lock on all of them, then they can't hit you back, and that's really nice. The other part is whenever you do damage to someone with the target lock, you also gain a bunch of turn meter based off of his leadership. And so you kind of want to have this mix of, yes, he does a lot of damage and he ramps his damage every turn he takes. He also ramps his potency, but he doesn't have a high potency, so you want a lot of health, which equates to not only survivability but also damage. But then you also want to be able to get target lock on people right away. Even though your potency does increase over time, your initial blows are going to help determine quite a bit. And so for him, he wants potency where he can get it, and so if you can get some potency just as secondary stats on him, then that's great. Otherwise, you also kind of want some speed depending on who you're countering. Like he used to counter Starkiller pretty nicely as well, and when you put BB-8 on the team to counter Starkiller, BB-8 gives you an additional 40% turn meter. And so once you get to, I think the number that I was always aiming for was 275 back in the day for speed, which is tough to get on him, honestly. But once you get that, then it turns him into 450 speed, which outsped pretty much all of the Mara Jades out there under Starkiller, which meant that he got to go first. So then if he did get, well, he would go after B1 usually, but and usually BB-8. Ironically, he even at 450 speed, he was still slower than those two. But with potency, if he can just do if he can get a bunch of target locks stacked on them, that's great. So and his potency is really, his base potency is really low. So potency as much as you can, and then health as much as you can, and then some speed as much as you can as well. and I mean, he's very stat hungry. So more relic levels is also nice, of course, and that helps your ships. Not that his fleet is anything too crazy special, but he's pretty stat hungry. And health and potency though. Health and potency, and hopefully you win. Aphra is an interesting one. Lots of potency on her, folks, because all of her damage and her team's damage, actually, because her team ramps damage based off of her potency. And that potency, whereas that also ramps over time, she also, they all benefit from her having a really high base potency. The other thing that you want to keep in mind, folks, is that she is, she's pretty squishy. And even though her focused cron lets her not be targeted as long as her other droids are still around, there's still going to be passive shots on her. She's going to be, I'm really interested to see if she's going to have some defensive viability, actually. But getting her a bunch of stats, like health and protection and all of that stuff, I mean, she's one of the targets I always tell people that you should look into giving her more relics, because that makes her more survivable. Yes, she cares about potency quite a bit. I have 180 on her. Wow, almost exactly 180. But secondary to that, and also very important, health and protection and armor are really nice. Defense percent, whatever you want to call it, also really nice. Look at her damage, 6999. It's like it's capped, except it's not. So really, I mean, some speed is nice, though. She gets her bonus turn meter to start, and then her droids kind of run the show afterward. It's getting her potency, getting her health and protection, getting her defense. Those are all things that she cares about pretty deeply, because if she dies, her droids are not that nice. They won't revive her. She'll revive them, but they won't revive her. It's fairly rude. Now, Zaalbar is an interesting guy. If you're going to just put him on a Wookiee team, then you'll have him modded the way I have him modded, and I don't think it's a bad way to mod him anyways. I think he can be pretty simply described as like, okay, just throw a bunch of health or protection on him and call it good. But I think my favorite way to do it is, yes, I have protection on the circle, because that's you can choose between health and protection, and I think he tends to prefer protection. But then, guys, get his defense super high if you can, because it also, his kit stacks with defense, right? Like as he's taking damage, like, so he gains 20% defense, stacking each time he takes damage from an attack. And so every time he's taking damage, he's stacking his defense, and it has the additional benefit. So this is like one of the few characters I recommend defense sets on. He also has the benefit of, you can keep his stats just low enough that if you put him on a Wookiee team and you have Chewbacca on that team, Chewbacca can guard him, and then because he passively taunts so much, then he's going to, like, he can't be crit, and he's taunting and he's forcing people to hit him, and it's pretty obnoxious. Are we going to put him on a Wookiee team? Probably not, for a while, at least. Not for a while. But I do have if you have a bunch of defense primaries that are just laying around and you're hoping one day to make use of them, you could throw him on Zaalbar. Of course, he's intended to go with his Omicron, and I don't think that he really sucks with these on him anyways. Like with that set, like, sure, you could give him more survivability, etc., but I mean, he's a simple guy one way or another. It's either defense or protection, or I guess you could do health if you really wanted to. And those are basically what you want to do with him. I just like being able to use my primary defense percent, because how many characters do you really want to put those on? Almost none of them. Saw Gerrera, he is, if you read all of his stuff, which his kit takes forever to read, honestly, it's all about health, heal over time, and giving percent health to his friends. And then if you add Luthen to the squad, it also Saw gets a lot of extra speed, and he also really benefits from being able to go somewhat early. He also benefits a lot from not being killed immediately by people. And so the big thing for him is he wants a lot of speed and he wants a lot of health. And that's basically it. Lots of speed, lots of health. And of course, if you can put his Omicron on him, that makes him and his team significantly better. And that's basically it. I have him at 340 speed. I think Luthen gets him up to like 380 speed, and that's before he gets any other speed from any other parts of his kit. He can get pretty quick. Luthen with his Omicron, I should say, with his unique Omicron. But one way or another, I mean, he has a pretty complex kit, but it amounts to keeping his guys alive pretty well. Every time, once they go under 50% of their health, then they go into stealth and they heal themselves and they do all this stuff to keep themselves alive. And he does the same. And he also has his like mini ult that happens like right at the very start, his big grenade thing that he throws. And that's really going to be the huge thing for him, is going first and shooting that grenade as quickly as possible. And depending on if you're going to use the Bodhi-Cron or if you're going to use Saz-Cron will probably let him use that ability right away. But even if you use the Bodhi-Cron, you want Saw to go first and be able to use that as quickly as possible. And I mean, the team that's nuking him right now before the crons and everything was CLS. CLS goes, and if they do enough damage, that their initial barrage can just kill Saw. And you know, you got to be careful with that. That's why you kind of want to use the Saw cron, is because if they get the nuke off, then at least he revives himself and is able to get a bonus turn to be able to do that. And so I guess there does exist an argument where you don't put an enormous amount of health on him, because all of the % health damage that they do from exposes can really ruin you. But I think you're going to be mostly protected from that by using the Saw level 9. So one way or another, I think, you know, and if we're not talking about datacrons in general, I would say that even still, health and speed are probably the things you really want to focus on for Senor Gerrera. Darth Sidious, you can see I take him extremely seriously. He's going to be able to he's going to be able to apply dots and do all that stuff. I'm not modding him especially for this. He annoyed me last set. Maybe this set we'll do the same. But honestly, his cron is basically if you can get a bunch of damage over times to set on your opponents, then they'll eventually die horrific deaths, and that's great. Otherwise he's not that useful. Lots of potency, and you know, some health is great, sure. A little bit of speed is great, and like the crit damage, sure, that's fine. You know, he does okay. He's just gonna be in there solo doing his thing. You probably do want to remod him, honestly. Like I'll probably end up doing that too, despite my disparaging remarks about our yellow-eyed friend. But you know, just some damage and potency is honestly underrated, because you want to stick those damage over times on him, right? Like those damage over times are the things that get auto kills on things, because whereas I think he does ramp his damage a little bit, he's depending on what you're tackling, you might not ramp enough, and a lot of it is going to depend on, will they have those 5 damage over times on them at the start of their turn, because then they die. So some potency, wonderful. Hera's an interesting one, because she kind of doesn't need anything specific. Did they change her character model? Looks like they changed her character model. Anyways, she wants to go fast, and she wants to survive, and she doesn't necessarily need to be the best at any of those, but really just give her some protection. I mean, I have an offense on her, a triangle, because that's I think that's just what I had to spare. I'd rather have her be a little faster. The offense doesn't really mean that much. Her main source of damage is really just causing expose with her basic, and then someone else hitting them with the expose, and that's just a preset amount of damage anyways, so just, you don't want her to die, though, and you want her to take some turns. She's going to be gaining some turn meter and stuff over the course of time, but for Hera, I mean, I have a whole video on how to mod Phoenix. Honestly, you guys can go check that out. My faction essentials for them, and that's mostly what she is. Just some speed and some survivability, and that's it. And then I believe we have one final contestant here, and that is Batcher. Now, I haven't learned the new Bad Batch that well, guys. I will actually pretty soon. We'll have to be doing something for them, but that'll probably be once I farmed them all the way. So until then, just suffice it to say, by people who have the entire squad modded, they tell me to do crit damage and potency for Batcher, and you want Batcher to be faster than Crosshair. How much faster? No one knows. It's not knowable. That's not something anyone can actually know or understand, so don't worry yourself about it. But Batcher, the whole Bad Batch team, is going to be fairly important moving forward, guys. With the new Datacron set, we'll be using them for at least 4 months on that, and then of course the raid, pretty much, I mean, even during that time period, we'll also be doing the new raid, and we're gonna need Bad Batch to be able to help us ruin that raid as well. So expect videos on modding these guys pretty consistently here pretty soon. But one way or another, that's it. That's all she wrote for this. These guys are, this is going to be a fun set, folks, and I hope we all prosper. So we're going to call it good. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zaalbar prevails. Take care, folks.